Okay, so this is my Perry Mason Season 2, Episode 4 review, and oh, Perry. So it starts off with Paul walking down the pier as the title chyron comes up. Now, I had absolutely no clue why he was on the pier, but it became obvious that he was actually considering throwing the gun that he had discovered into the river. Or was it the Pacific? This is LA. Anyway, and he decided against it, but he talks to Clara about whether he should reveal this to Perry, because he's very loyal to Perry, wants to help Perry win his case, and this just screws everything up. Now, my question is, why are they so sure that they're the ones who killed Brooks based on the gun? Yes, that is the murder weapon, but considering it gets rented out, it could have been someone else who rented out the gun. It didn't have to be them, but no, Paul is sure that they're the ones who pulled the trigger. Which, well, I'll get to it later, but I just don't see why everyone's so sure about this. But anyway, so he tells Perry, as Perry and Della are super psyched about discovering, which, first off, the secretary is proving her worth because she found out that Noreen Lawson's brother is a councilman in the ward where Brooks has his stadium. The empty stadium that he's hoping to get a baseball team for. And according to Perry, he rules it with an iron fist. Nothing can happen there without his knowledge. So they're talking, and Paul throws the curveball of, here's the murder weapon, and it was used by the brothers. They're the ones who killed Brooks. Again, yes, this is a gun for rent. So I highly doubt they're the only ones who rented that gun. But okay, so Perry is not happy, and Della just puts the gun in the safe. And I honestly thought she was going to say, gun? What gun? I don't see a gun. But Perry is understandably upset because, well, they lied to him. And I see things both ways. On the one hand, these are a couple of scared kids who are in over their heads, and that they're used to racism. So they don't trust Perry because, well, they don't know him. They don't know that he's totally not racist. But they don't want to admit things to him. So, but on the other hand, how is Perry supposed to properly defend them? So Perry is pissed. He talks to the boys, and they admit it. Well, Raphael starts saying how they're poor, they needed the money, And then Mateo takes over, and he cops to be the one to shoot Brooks. And you could tell Raphael was trying to stop him. He's like, "Wait, what? What are you telling him?" So either Mateo's trying to protect Raphael, because either he thinks Raphael did something, or because he just hopes that the punishment ends up with him, which is stupid because he's the one who has a family. So, but he's the younger brother, so, okay. Now, remember in the first episode, or was it second episode? I think second episode. Perry noticed that the angles were all wrong based on their heights, that they could not have shot that shot. So, but now all is forgotten because they confessed. Now, it could be one of them did the deed, and, that Raphael did the deed and Mateo is covering for him. But what I think happened is they were given money to take the heat off of whomever actually did kill Brooks. So again, I think they're still lying to Perry. I don't think that they actually shot Brooks. They probably know who did. But they're not the ones who did the deed. And it's annoying that Perry seems to have forgotten that it's impossible for either one of them to have made that shot. But, so Perry is now upset because he doesn't want to represent them anymore because he only wants to represent the innocent. And Della reminds him that everyone deserves a defense. And he's like, fine, let someone else do it. So he's not happy with the situation at all. And I'm just still screaming that, did you forget about your first observation? Maybe he was so convinced that they, he could tell when they were lying to him before, but suddenly he believes them because they confessed. But anyway, so everyone's frustrated in this episode. Perry is frustrated because, he has to defend guilty clients, which is kind of a callback to the first episode when he was defending this sleazebag. But, because he was technically correct that what this kid who opened a rival grocery store was doing was improper. So technically he was in the right, but he was a jerk about it. So now Perry's in that situation again of having to defend two brothers who seemingly are guilty. Like I said, I still don't believe that they are. Or maybe one is and one isn't, and just the fact that they're being tried together as a package deal because the prosecution is so full of racist hate that it never occurred to him that maybe, because they're brothers, they're different people. So that also might come back to bite the prosecution in the butt, that because the jury's going to have to find them both guilty, or both not guilty, but they can't split the verdict because they're being presented as a single defendant. I'm going to say that, yeah, that's going to bite prosecution in the butt. And that's the best case scenario for the prosecution. But anyway, so Della and Paul are also having a rough time. Della's having a rough time because now she's having visions of how Emily Dotson killed herself. So now she's dealing with some trauma because of the death. And it's like, okay, why? You had nothing to do with that. You weren't told about that. I mean, maybe Perry should have told her, but the postcards were addressed to him, not her. So, but yeah, she's dealing with some issues now. And this is the first time I actually liked Anita, because Anita was so sweet to Della and tried her best to help Della deal with her with her emotions. She was just so fed up at this point. So that's the first time I liked Anita. I'm still waiting for some connection to the case. You know, that she isn't a complete side character and just Della's love interest, that there's more to it. Whether it turns out that she was playing Della or she just happens to notice something, because do we even know what she does for a living? It's possible that when they first met she said it, but I don't remember. Obviously was she an actress? Because she has a lot of set designs in her little Shangri-La, in Palm Springs. So I don't know if she's a set designer or an actress, but she's somehow a part of Hollywood. So, now, then she goes to visit Camilla and ask her if she happens to have any paperwork to show that that Brooks asked her to invest, and that she said, yeah, no, not gonna happen, because you're a flippin' moron. But and Paul, ugh, even his family is turned on him. So, because Lydell has recruited the radio talk show host, who is basically Rush Limbaugh, and having him drag Perry's reputation through the mud the way Perry's trying to drag Brooks's reputation. Now, it still could be that Lydell is the killer, or that he hired the boys to kill, but like I said, I don't think the boys were the ones to kill. But it's possible, but he's really, really trying hard to defend, Brooks's reputation, to keep his reputation from being dragged through the mud. So I'm kind of leaning towards maybe he's not the killer and he's just a father trying to protect his son's reputation. Or he's afraid that once his son's reputation is sullied, that people will look to him and discover that he's just as bad, only he's actually a successful businessman, unlike his son. I don't know. But, so Paul is also a part of this. Mo initially didn't seem to be that happy with Paul. But when Mo's son asked if he was dirty, because that makes sense, and Mo defended him. So Mo doesn't completely hate Paul. But yeah, people aren't happy that he's helping to defend these two kids because they're so sure that they did it. And Mo's like, yeah, we don't know that yet. And he's like, well, the papers are telling me to think that. Exactly. They're telling you to think that, not that it's true. And you would think that because of the way blacks were treated in the 30s, that they would be more receptive to the fact that, let's not be racist twats to Mexicans, because we know what it's like for people to just assume the worst about us because of our race. Just a thought. So, they call him an Uncle Tom, which I don't know how that works. Because an Uncle Tom to whom? Even Mo calls him out on it. It's like, what? Mo might not like Paul, but he knows he's not an Uncle Tom. Which makes me wonder if this kid even knows what an Uncle Tom is. Or if he just threw it out there because he knows that's a bad thing. It's one white guy against a bunch of other white guys who are trying to lynch a couple of Mexicans. I failed to see where the Uncle Tom comes in on this. So, yeah. I have no idea where he got that, and that's probably why Mo called him out on it. It's like, yeah, I'm not a fan of Paul, not a fan of what he's doing, but an Uncle Tom? No. Not gonna happen. So, and then Clara points out to him that Perry hired him to be his investigator. So why not go and investigate? So it ends with Paul bringing the guy who rents guns food. Now, I'm going to guess that he had Clara cook. That's just a guess because Clara seems really cool about helping Paul when necessary. So maybe she's the one who cooked dinner as opposed to him going to a restaurant and getting takeout. And we find out that they rented the gun for an hour every day and they would shoot at bottles. So Paul's like, okay, so they were practicing. Now, again, that doesn't mean anything because we saw those two little kids shooting at bottles. I doubt they're planning on killing anyone. I still think that it was that whoever did kill Brooks, or whoever was hired to kill Brooks, used them as fall guys and were paid off. That they were paid off to take the fall. And I am still leaning towards Lydell. I am still leaning towards him. It could turn out to be a huge twist, but like someone completely unexpected like Sonny. But right now I'm leaning towards Lydell. Because he's just not being very nice to people, like you know, ripping up a guy's cheek because they dare to want to get paid. What a horror. So I'm still leaning towards Lydell. Now, Perry, he his bad mood just gets worse because first him and Teddy went out horseback riding, and you can see that Perry knows how to ride. And they run into Ginny, who happens to work there on Saturdays to make extra money. So basically, teachers have always been paid shit. Because otherwise, why does she need the extra money? Unless teachers are paid like crap. So she goes for a ride with them and gives Teddy a nicer horse. And you would think that Perry would know that, but considering how he easily got on the horse like this is the most normal thing in the entire world, I would think that he would know that maybe, get a different horse. Anyway, but so they're riding along, and it's obvious that Ginny has a serious crush on Perry. Why, I do not know. The older Perry, I can understand. This Perry, not in a million years. So, they have a nice horseback ride. And then later on, when Perry, now this was weird. Perry was trying to grab Teddy and say, "Come on, we have to go now. We have to go now." It's like, what are you running away from? He's finishing his schoolwork. What I failed to see why it's so important. And so a father, sticks up for Teddy by calling him Maggot Mason and saying how he treats the Mexicans better than his own kid, which, what the hell do you know how he treats his clients? Just because he doesn't think they're murderers? I fail to see where he's getting the idea of how he's treating his clients, just because he's trying to get Teddy to leave now, which was really, really weird. So when he called him Maggot Mason, Perry punches his lights out, which he kind of had it coming. I probably would have let him say a few more niceties before pulling out the guns, but okay. Perry's on a short fuse right now, and it freaks out Teddy. So he hangs on to his teacher, which, by the way, where the hell is his mother? After that one scene where she's like, "Yeah, we moved back to LA and I want Teddy to get to know his father," and since then, nothing. We've seen nothing of her. But okay. So Perry goes out, talks with Pete, and he comes up with this idea. They break into the stables, and he takes his prized racehorse for a ride. And I don't know, I was under the impression that he probably wanted to ride the horse till the horse either dropped or broke a leg or something, that he wanted to destroy his property. In this case, a horse, which that's really dickish. And until the lights come on and the horse bucks Perry off. So Pete grabs him. They get away. And Strickland leaves because he's like, I want to keep my job. And Perry's just looking at him like, wait, what? What's wrong with you? Oh my god. Perry's just completely losing his shit. Now, I get that Perry is an idealist, but like I said, he already came up with a demonstration to prove that they couldn't have shot Brooks. And the fact that they confessed should not change that. Paul even said that there's something wrong with their story because it's too perfect. It too much matches what the DA claims happened. So, but Perry is so in a pity party, he's not listening. But, so obviously this stunt is going to bite Perry in the ass. And the only person who, besides Paul, of course, the only person who I was actually liking this episode was Holcomb. Say what you will about the man. Yes, he's a dirty cop. And yes, he's doing this investigation simply because it's to his benefit to find out why his boat, because he's the lone businessman who owns the boat, how it's floundering. So he wants to know where all this cash Brooks got, to get all these, how he was keeping anything afloat. So he kind of remembers he's a cop. And he starts investigating. So he goes to one of the suppliers. And he manages to grab the guy who Lydell tortured. And you could still see tears in his eyes. So either this happened in quick succession, or he's still in a lot of pain, which that's a possibility. His cheek was like completely destroyed. But and I was expecting him to say that I can't talk to you because this is what Lydell did to me. Just to get Holcomb onto Lydell's list. Come after Lydell. But no, he just explained that they were moving produce, which Holcomb's like, but California has all this produce. Why do we need to bring it in? Well, it's a McCutcheon's ships. Why don't you ask them? So either way, he's probably going to go to Lydell to find out what the hell is going on. And either that or he's going to tell Perry to look into Lydell, which I'm sure Perry had every intention of doing anyway, especially since Lydell has put goons on dragging Perry's reputation through the mud. So this was probably going to happen regardless. But I wouldn't mind Holcomb taking on Lydell. I really wouldn't. Let's see, what am I missing this episode? I think I covered everything, even the side plots. Because the side plots, except for Della, fit in nicely with the A plot. Oh yes. Mrs. Ames comes to visit Perry after he blows off a sex worker. And she wants to, is hoping that she'll be invited in, and then is disappointed because Perry is, I don't know, drunk out of his skull or just, I don't know, not thinking. His brain just melted. He almost screwed this up. So he invites her in. But so everyone's getting some loving. Paul and Clara are having some sexy time while Mo and his family are gone and the baby is taking a nap. Of course, Della and Anita, and now Perry and Ginny. Now, the only thing that startled me through this is that they showed nudity. Now, I honestly don't care, but because you really didn't see any, even though this is HBO, you didn't really see any, that it startled me when I did see it. Let's see if there's anything else I'm missing from this episode. I think I covered pretty much everything, maybe not in the correct order. Actually, definitely not in the correct order, but yeah. So, next episode, hopefully we'll have Paul investigating further this idea that the boys were practicing. Because again, I think that their practicing was completely innocent and that they still weren't the ones who actually killed Brooks. That it's going to be someone else. If for no other reason to save Perry's sanity. Or what's left of it. Let's see. We see in the previews of next episode that Paul is doing something. I don't know if it's still in Hooverville, sorry. I don't know where that came from. From Hooverville or if it's somewhere else, but it looks like he's getting the snot beaten out of him. So, yeah, that'll be fun. So we'll see what Paul comes up with and what it is that he found that causes people to beat on him. And I just wonder who's going to end up rescuing him. I'm assuming it's going to be Perry. But if it's in Hooverville, it could be one of the, either the aunt or the wife, which I just remembered. The wife had a map that Raphael gave her. She goes and she finds this large wad of money. And then the aunt comes in and asks, "What are you doing?" So she shows her the money. And that's how the episode ends. So, and we see her talking to Perry saying how, there's one other person who wanted McCutcheon dead. So, hopefully we're going to find out who that person is next week. Because based on Brooks's really bad business sense, that could be a lot of people, as I said, and including his father. So, and maybe we'll find out how the boys are actually involved, because I really, really think that they were given a lot of money to take the fall, rather than that they're the ones who actually killed Brooks. So we'll just have to see. Hopefully next week there'll be more information that will lead us away from the boys. So with that, I think I have everything covered now. So I will see you next time.